majority of all its members may appoint a committee of its own members, not to exceed 5 and not over 3, to be of either of the two major political parties, to investigate conditions pertaining to the conduct of county affairs by any county officer or any person appointed or employed by such officer, which committee shall have power to summon witnesses, examine them under oath, secure a transcript of the testimony, and do other necessary acts to conduct such an investigation. I would also like to read, for purposes of the record, RSA section 2418, which is called Expense of Investigation. The county convention shall appropriate a certain sum for expenses for any committee established pursuant to RSA 2417. The reasonable expenses of such investigation shall be paid by the county when approved by a judge of the Superior Court. Okay. We had planned to have take the testimony of the director of the nursing home, Belknap County Nursing Home, a couple of months ago, and we were advised that she would appear without necessity of a subpoena, and we were ready to proceed. And then were advised by counsel that was obtained, apparently retained by the county commission, that no one would appear without subpoenas, and the county administrator pointed out the provisions of RSA 2418, which requires an order of the Superior Court for the disbursement of any funds for the investigation, which would include subpoena fees, witness fees, service of process fees, and court reporter fees. So that meeting was canceled. Because of the county commissioners have obtained counsel, it is necessary that we have counsel to represent the Committee of Investigations and to go to Superior Court to get approval of expenditures, to cause subpoenas to be issued, and generally to advise the committee to comply with the law and with our charge under the statute. So I have personally checked with a variety of law firms to determine who would be appropriate, experienced in municipal government matters, and who would be willing to represent the Committee of Investigations. And I'm prepared to report on that tonight. Several firms, when I disclose the members of the committee, the members of the delegation, and the members of the county commission and the county administrator, a few of the firms indicated that they had conflicts of interest, so that they were prohibited from the ethical rules and taking the engagement. At least one or two of the firms that I contacted did not want to get involved in what they deemed to be a political squabble between members supposedly of the same party. Finally, an attorney who has represented municipalities and is very conversant with municipal law as well as general litigation, and is well known to people who have been involved in politics in the state for a long time. His name is Brian Gould, and he is a director of the firm of Cleveland, Waters, and Bass, their office is in Concord. And they have cleared conflicts. They don't have any conflicts. They have agreed to work on an hourly basis, and they have agreed to work without an advance retainer. So what the purpose of this in the folders for each of the members of the committee is the proposed engagement letter, which sets forth the terms of the engagement, and that they understand that they have to go to Superior Court to get approval for expenses, including payment for themselves. So what I'm looking for is a motion. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the hiring of Cleveland, Waters, and Bass in accordance with their June 18, 2021 engagement letter.
Mr. Chair?
Can we have a second, and then we'll have discussion?
There's no motion yet. You said you were looking for one,
Okay,
but I have a question before discussion, so
okay.
I think I have the floor now.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'd like to understand exactly what the outcome that we're trying to accomplish here is that, well, clearly, from my understanding of our conversation at the delegation level, a significant part of this argument stems around the fact that what we determine a department to be and what the commission has determined a department to be are in conflict. And what we think that department is, and the need for a transfer of funds, which is outlined under the court agreement from 2014, the stipulation that was made that said that the commissioners would come to the delegation for transfers. That the conflict resides right there. Is that the commissioners believe that the department levels are only the levels that we put on the MS-24, or I think that's the right form, or MS-13, which I can't remember what county, which form it is nowadays, but and that there's a conflict between, they think that just those higher level forms like the sheriff's department, nursing home, those departments are departments, whereas we were pretty clear in our deliberations and our determinations in the budget on what a department was. And so I'm trying to understand, is that the root cause of our conflict and what we're trying to get these attorneys? I'm not going to hire an attorney and spend county money, which is just, we're going to spend county money. They're going to spend county money. We're going to spend taxpayer money everywhere. And what are we trying to get to without just one of these? I do not want to see a Washington, D.C. style investigation that just meanders everywhere. I'm trying to understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So, Mr. Chair, do we have an answer to that question?
My understanding is that for at least 4 years, there has been a discussion in the delegation about the formation of a committee of investigation. There was even a discussion about having a forensic audit, but rather than the committee of investigations. But the delegation voted several months ago to establish a committee of investigation. And under the statute, it's designed to the conduct of county affairs. That's what it's supposed to do. I think the principle. I think you focused on one of the major issues which has come to light, which is the question of whether or not transfers have been made between budget line items in the approved budget, approved by the delegation, that violated the delegation's policy of dealing with transfers, where transfers were made in excess of $5,000 that did not get approval by the executive committee of the delegation. And we want to find out, did those in fact occur, and how did they occur, and why did they occur, and who authorized them? So yes, I think that's the issue.
So we are focusing on that issue and not meandering around any other county-related events that are going on. We're not hiring them to come in and look at every department and every procedure that they're doing and finding out whether or not there's something wrong. But are we narrowing strictly on the conversation of, this is a budget for a department, you didn't transfer money as was required by the 2014, because that was my understanding of the conversation in the delegation in the formation of this. It was around that conversation alone.
I don't think that the statute limits us to strictly that particular issue. There may be other issues that come up. For example, one of the issues that has arisen subsequent to the creation of the committee has been whether or not 91A has been complied with respect to the engagement of counsel by the county commissioners. So there may be other issues, but it's not going to be a freewheeling, no holes barred, look at every department type of issue. But there are other issues in addition to the transfer policy issue.
So you have a clean outline of what those are. We were asking to engage, trying to understand what the scope of money we're going to spend with this attorney's firm, this law firm, to investigate. I think the line items are pretty clear to investigate. As a matter of fact, they've presented their own evidence, right? And I think it's a matter of just going in front of a judge saying, here's what they say, here's what we say, here's how we outlined what a department was. They violated that. Is this a contempt of court issue or not? And let the court make the decision. I don't need an attorney's firm to do that. They presented their own evidence when we did our budget review. They showed us the lines that they overexpended. So I'm not sure we need anything more than that piece of paper, the video conversation we had on, when I made almost every motion for that budget when it came to the department level. I was very clear when I said it was for department nursing home, or I was say nursing, for department. I think the one we're arguing about mostly is around pharmaceuticals. I believe was the one they expended the most over. And, and I gave the line code for that line and the dollar and the bottom line number for that. So now it's up to a judge to decide that whether when we made that motion, we called it a department and that they chose to ignore that recommendation of the delegation that this is the department, Is that contempt of court? Do we have to force them to do that? That seems to be a pretty straightforward thing. I'm not even sure we need I'll draft a motion. I've written enough motions in my time as a police prosecutor. I can draft that motion. I'm not sure we need to spend tens of thousands of dollars with a law firm to go investigate the same exact freaking thing.
Travis?
I just have a quick question for the chair. Do we roughly know how much time in Superior Court this will take? Because we're averaging probably $350 an hour with this lawyer.
To get approval of the issuance of subpoenas and the disbursement of funds for serving the subpoenas and court reporter, 5 hours perhaps at the most. This is not rocket science. This is something that a lower level person in the firm can do. And Mr. Mortis is here. Thank you, Representative. We have just read the RSA 2417 and 2418, and I explained what happened to the first hearing and why it was postponed. And I've indicated that we have a proposal from a law firm to represent us because the county commissioners have hired a law firm to represent them in connection with, as opposed to this committee. So Representative Lang has just made some points, and the chair is still looking for a motion to approve the retention of Cleveland Waters and Baths.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second. Meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Chair, there's still at least one more item on the discuss the overview of functional areas of county operations, which we haven't discussed. We haven't discussed what the next step of the investigation is.
Meeting's adjourned.
Mr. Chair, is the game going to be, if we don't get your way, we're going to just end the meeting and move on? Is that how this is going to work? No other members have a say in what we have for a conversation? I guess so. Someone's taking their ball and going home.